Hi, everybody, and welcome to today's podcast episode, which is going to have a particular focus around websites. What prompted me to record this episode today is, I think the first thing is I've been noticing more and more that I'm seeing therapists who are investing maybe a lot of energy into their marketing in other areas, such as Instagram. And they're spending so much time perhaps creating content on Instagram that their poor little website gets completely and utterly neglected. And I totally get it because it's very easy for us to get pulled into other areas, and there's lots of shoulds around, how we should be marketing ourselves and where we should be marketing ourselves. And Instagram is a free platform. So it's a great opportunity to be marketing yourself on there. But I think what can often happen is that I see therapists who are losing literally hours and hours of their time every week to creating content. The content isn't really doing anything. It's not resulting in inquiries. And then perhaps they either don't have a website or they have a website that was built sometime ages ago and they haven't looked at it and they haven't done anything with it at all. Your website really, this is from my perspective, your website is really your most valuable piece of marketing that you have. It should be your most valuable platform that you have. The reason why I say this is because you own your website. You don't own Instagram. That's just rented land that you're on, and you don't own the directory profiles that you're on either. You own your website. It's the one space that you can fully control to showcase who you help and how you help them. And when you do it right, it really can be the focal point of all your marketing efforts, and it can be a direct pipeline for new clients. So for myself, with my private practice, started off with a DIY website that I built myself. I then moved on to getting somebody, just a local web designer who was close by, to build a site for me. I think it was about £500 I spent on that designer and with that website. And then hosting it was about £30 a month. And then I had the realization and learning after that because I hadn't done my due diligence or my research, that the platform that he had built for me was on a site that I didn't really know, wasn't really familiar with, wasn't particularly client user friendly. And when I then wanted to move on to WordPress, realized that I couldn't actually move off the site that this guy had built the website on. And so I had to then build a website from scratch on WordPress. And I really invested in the website that I have now. It was a big investment, almost £2,000 investment. And it's been one of the best investments that I've ever done because it attracts real, high quality clients who are invested to work with me, who are committed to work with me, and it has more than paid for itself. If you can hear lots of clambering in the background, by the way, that is my little Yorkie, Lucy, who's being very disrespectful, Lucy. Mummy's recording a podcast. She's settling down now, so apologies if you could hear a little scraping on the chair. That's her just making herself comfy because she doesn't care, obviously, that I'm recording a podcast. And I'm far too lazy these days to do editing. So you're probably going to hear this in the actual podcast episode that goes out. So sorry, I digressed. I lost my attention with Lucy. So yes, I was saying that my most recent website, it was a big investment for me. It was money that I had to really work hard at pulling together. It certainly wasn't money that I had lying around, but I made the decision that I was going to really up level in my private practice, and that meant really investing in a really good quality website. So I totally understand that money is going to be a factor here. I did it myself. I just rushed in doing the whole DIY website and building your own. And all I just would get you to consider and reflect upon is whether that is the best option for you to be doing. If you are someone who is naturally creative, you're pretty techy, and you can pull something together that really looks aesthetically pleasing and you really know what you're doing with it, that's brilliant. If that's not you, and you're kind of clambering together a DIY website and it's clunky or it's untidy the functionality on it isn't great, honestly, it is going to be repelling clients and potential clients away. And it would probably be better for you to spend time just saving money and working towards getting somebody to actually support you and to help you with it. Because there really is such a difference between us rushing something just for the sake of having it versus spending the time to get it right. Especially when it comes to, like, your website is probably the place that if somebody comes to your directory profile and you have a website, they're going to click on the website to check it out because there's more detail of you on the website because you've more space and more opportunity to write. Or if they click on a reel or they click on your bio in Instagram and they're maybe even interested in working with you, there's still going to be an expectation that they're going to go to your website. Think about yourself. And if you were a client looking for a therapist, you probably would have an expectation that there's going to be a website that you can go to. So it is something that is required. It is something that can do a lot of the legwork for you in your marketing. And if it's done well, like, it can be the thing that is your source of clients. I get kind of a bit of a split between Psychology Today and my own private practice website. I've spent a lot of time working on SEO on my website, and I will get a good proportion of my clients now that come directly through the website and bypass directories. And that for me is sort of like, that's the gold standard that I really want, is that I don't have to rely on directory profiles or that I don't have to rely on social media, because with either of those two platforms, anything could happen at any time, really. I mean, your Instagram account could get hacked and you literally will not be able to get access to it for potentially several months. And that really does happen. Or something can change with how the platforms and the directory profiles are set up, how the algorithms work on them, their fee structure. You just don't know that those things could change at any time. So please do not neglect your website. So I'm going to chat about some of the common mistakes that I see with therapist websites. So I'm going to go through some of the common mistakes that I see therapists make with their website. So this has come up a couple of times recently when I've started doing mentoring work with some therapists, and they've said to me, oh, I've found a website designer and I've given him some content and he's already got that up and running. And I'm like, oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on, because we haven't even started really focusing on who your ideal client is and really homing in on that. It's absolutely pointless going ahead and building a website and getting it set up if it's going to be a really generic site that tries to speak to absolutely everybody and then doesn't actually resonate with anybody. And so you put this generic site together and then potentially you end up refining and really homing in on your niche, and then you're going to have to rewrite your whole website over and over again. So don't build your website or don't write anything for your website until you have absolutely like crystal clear clarity on who your ideal client is. And that is really the foundational work that you should be doing before anything is done on your website. And ideally, you're doing that working with somebody like myself. Or if you're using a website designer, if your website designer is worth their money, they should be spending a lot of time working with you, like giving you pre-work, questionnaires, understanding you, understanding your ideal client, understanding like color schemes that you like, fonts, images, all of that sort of stuff. They should be working really collaboratively with you. It shouldn't just be that they're going to pull together a site and you're just going to give them some content to plug the gaps, because that website will just come across as being pretty generic, pretty bland. It'll maybe be very clinical looking, and it really won't do the job for you that you want your website to do. So always make sure you do the pre-work first around your niche and your ideal client, the style of website you want, how you want your ideal client to feel when they land on your website, what you want the look of it to be like. Too many websites that I see where therapists have built them themselves is that they can look quite messy. They can look quite cluttered. There can be a lot of clashing around colors and fonts. And it can be, from a client perspective, really even difficult to navigate around. Like, it's not clear. There's no clear direction of where the user is supposed to go. There's maybe not buttons that are directing them through to all the different pages to find out more about their services. They've maybe built it on a laptop and then they haven't actually checked how it converts into mobile design. Most people are going to be looking at your website through their mobile phone. So just some of those basic things that should be looked at aren't being looked at. And those sorts of things where if it's too text heavy, it's poor design, it's maybe slow to load, all of those things will really impact whether the website is going to be found on Google search or not. So yeah, these are the kind of things that perhaps if you have built your own website, these are some of the things that you really want to think about and consider, and really think about doing an audit and a review on your website as if you were a user, as if you knew nothing about therapy and you landed on your website. Like, what impressions might you actually get if you pretended you knew nothing about therapy and you were landing on your own website, and see what that experience might actually feel like and be like. Because what tends to happen from the therapist perspective, with the therapist hat on, it's very therapist centric. So it's full of like clinical jargon. It's full of talking about your qualifications. It's full of talking about your BACP membership body. You've maybe got your big BACP logos and all of your things to try and show that you're credible. And listen, I get it. I've done all these things myself, so no shade. Everything I'm sharing with you are all things that I've learned on this journey myself, and all these things that I have changed myself. So I get why we do it. We do it because we want to give an impression to a potential client that we're professional and that we know our stuff. But that's not what your client is actually looking for. They don't give a hoot whether you are BACP accredited or what, body you're under or what specific modality you're presenting from. They really want to hear whether you understand them and whether you can help them. And so the content on your website shouldn't be reading like a CV. It shouldn't be all focused on where you trained or your modalities. It should be speaking to how your ideal client might be feeling in the moment that they land on your website. So speaking directly to their thoughts, their feelings, what's coming up for them. That's what we really want to see. The other thing that I see quite often, I sort of touched on this already, is that a page has been built and it's just like one big long scroll that someone is supposed to kind of just scroll through. We know like our attention spans are getting shorter and shorter. We have lots of distractions now, and if they land on your therapist website and it's not super clear who you help and how you help them, and I mean like within seconds, if that's not clear, the chances are they're going to just jump off and go on to another site. But if they land on your site and they have to scroll through reams and reams of text because you're trying to give more and more information as to how qualified you are, and they have to keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, people just do not have the attention span now for reading loads of text. And also, if they are seeking therapy and they want help, they might be in a position where they're feeling like really overwhelmed or really anxious. And so they want things to be as quick and easy as possible. So if they have to go hunting on your website to find your book now button or to find your contact, email, you're making it more difficult for your client to get in contact. On my website, I have direct online calendar that if people want to book an introductory call with me, they do it right on the website and it's booked in straight through. I have all my availability preset. They book their introductory call, they get a text message confirming it, and then they get a reminder sometime before the appointment as well. It's all automated. It makes it quick. It makes it easy. And it takes away the kind of the back and forth of email communication or trying to call or text people. I prefer everything just where possible to be automated. And then the final mistake that I see therapists often make with their websites is that it never gets looked at or reviewed, and they've maybe had the same website sitting for perhaps even years, and it gets completely ignored. If you're hoping that your website is going to be a platform that attracts inquiries through, you need to be regularly updating it, because I imagine your practice over the years evolves and changes. Maybe the type of clients that you work with, or the way in which you practice has maybe evolved and changed. So you need to be keeping it refreshed, keeping it updated, updating blog articles on it. Blog articles are going to be incredibly important for SEO. So if you've built a website, you've done nothing with it, there's no SEO work has gone into it, and then you're wondering why people aren't booking with you, then this is going to be one of the reasons why. I would say most therapist websites is the traffic that is going to their website is usually as a direct result of a referral through from a directory profile. So they find you on a profile first, and then they've clicked on your website. Ideally, we want to get your website working for you so that people might be able to find you organically through a Google search. So having a good quality website, having well-written content on the website is really important, but also being SEO optimized is really important. And so if you don't understand any of those things, I totally get why you wouldn't understand any of those things, because you're not a web designer and you're not a marketer. But if you've built a DIY website, or you've got somebody else that's just, built you a low cost one, and there's been no further work done around SEO, no niche focus, no really reviewing the content or the quality of the content that is on there, then it's likely that your website is pretty redundant and not really doing anything to try and help you. And like I said at the beginning, it really should be your most valuable business asset. So it is really worth spending time and energy learning how to write content that really connects with your ideal client, learning how to effectively navigate your ideal client through the website, and that you're making it as easy and friction-free as you possibly can. So if I have shared some feedback and some comments, and it might be stinging you a little bit, and you're thinking, oh God, I haven't updated my website in forever. Or you start off, people click on your website and the first thing that they see is, hi, I'm an integrative therapist practicing under a BACP body and blah, 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 blah. If that's the first thing they see, or my old favorite, the classic, I offer a safe, non-judgmental space. If those are all the things that you are leading with on your website, then your website probably needs a little bit of TLC. And so you are very, very welcome to come and join me in a couple of weeks' time, which is week commencing the 15th of September. I'm going to be running an event called Open House Week. And basically inside Open House Week is a little bit of a taster where you'll be given access into a private part of my membership community, which is on Circle. And over the course of the week, I'm going to be doing a few live training sessions in there that are all focused on some of the common mistakes that I've mentioned in this episode and how to rectify them. So really how to connect to your ideal client, how to create better flow and navigation on your website, and how to write content that really connects with your client on your website as well. And there'll also be an opportunity on that week on the Friday morning. There'll be a Q&A call where you'll be able to come along. The call will be for an hour, and ask any website related questions that you might have, or if you want to get feedback on anything you've worked on over the course of the week. Anytime I run events like this, they tend to be pretty hands-on, practical. I always like people to be able to kind of take away next steps and things that they can put into action really clearly. Obviously, I hope that for people who come in and who really enjoy the experience and get a bit of a taster for me, how I tend to deliver training and coaching, and it's an opportunity to see whether I might be a good fit for you, that of course I would love people then to come and join us inside the membership community when the doors are reopening. But there will be no pressure. If you come along to the week, you're still going to get heaps and heaps and heaps of value out of it, but also there'll be an opportunity to come and join the membership. And inside the membership, there are going to be more comprehensive tools around supporting you with your website content and also your design. A brand new addition that I have inside the membership community, which I'm super excited about, is a beautiful bespoke website template that is on Squarespace that has been kind of written and laid out like in a done for you format. And the only thing that you would then need to be changing and tweaking is the content for your ideal client on there. And if you want to change or edit, obviously the brand or colors or things like that, that you can do that. But it's basically an option for people that don't have the funds for getting a website designer, that I've kind of done all the legwork around the format, the structure, the functionality of it. And the only thing that would need to change then is the content and your colors and your tones. So that's something that will be available for people who then do go on to join the membership community. So it's all going to be happening, like I said, week commencing the 15th of September, mixture of live calls, activities for you to go away and work on, and the opportunity to get some feedback on what you're doing as well. I'll pop the open house registration link below, and I hope to see you there, and I will see you shortly. Take care.